Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right. The end of the week. I love the end of the week. It's one of my favorite times of the week. I generally like most of the times of the week, but like Monday is kind of stressful sometimes because like you're like, even though I run my own business, I still put more pressure on myself in the earlier in the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like, oh, I have all this stuff I got to get done. Like I got to get it done now, 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 now. You know what I mean? And the end of the week and the weekend, I just like nice. It's like, okay, I could kind of go into relax mode. I don't know. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah, it's the pressure's always on for me. It doesn't matter what
Oh
day.
man, you don't take off. You don't take off any days on the weekend.
Um, to me, weekends don't exist. They're just another day. You just
Wow.
wake up and you keep doing the same work.
Yeah, I probably would be like that too, except I grew up Jewish, like with like religious Jewish. And they have this day, it's called Shabbat. And Shabbat is like, it means rest. It's like the Sabbath, that's where the
Yeah.
word the Sabbath comes from. And the word means, Shabbat means rest. And it's like basically you have to, if you're like religious Jewish, you believe that you have to rest on the Shabbat, like on Saturday,
Yeah.
basically. You have to, and like that, being forced to do that, I realized that like it actually makes me more productive during the rest of the week. It's kind of like a meditation, it's like it makes me forced to rest. So when I stopped being Jewish, like, or religious or whatever, I like lost a lot of those like customs and like those like habits, and I became like, oh, I'm just gonna work every day, every day, every day.
Yeah.
And then I realized I was actually losing productivity. I was losing clarity. Like I was losing like this like sort of like big picture vision and perspective. So I adopted that back again. So now on Saturdays I just don't do any work. So it really helps me actually. It's kind of like a meditation.
Yeah, I could see that. It would just be hard for me to like decide, what day, or because I don't necessarily have a day like you were talking about
Yeah,
that I
you
could
just
just
gotta pick
easily
one.
identify.
You just gotta pick one and enforce it. It's almost like a little meditation retreat. I also I have Giovanna hide my phone. Like she actually hides it in a different place every day,
Oh
every week.
man.
So like that way I can't get it because otherwise I'm addicted. You know what I mean? I get completely addicted to it. Yeah.
That's so cool. I
Do you
feel
ever?
that too. Like for me personally, I feel that, just this past week in Nashville, like in LA, coming from California, there weren't such thing as winters. Here, it's like a whole new season I'm getting used to. And this past week, I feel like I've really experienced like how people talk about when it's not sunny outside, like a winter depression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have that
I mean,
sometimes.
I'm not saying I'm depressed, but man, today I woke up and I could barely get out of, I mean, I had to go to this like red light sauna where they give you vitamin D lamp, and I felt like literally a new person after. It's so crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that, what do you call it? It's called seasonal affective disorder. I believed that I had that. I believed that everyone had that
Yes.
for a long time. That's why I spent years escaping the winter. I ran to every winter I ran away to like Asia or South America or wherever just to escape the winter because I got really messed up in the winters. I got like bad, like not getting out of bed until 2 p.m., like that type of thing. And
Dang.
I thought, but there was like I met a girl in Cambodia, of all places, that like was from Canada, and she was like, "Oh, what are you talking about? The winter is awesome." She's like, "Yeah, just put on a lot of clothes, like wear
Mhm.
lots of clothes, and like prepare for it, and then just go out into the cold as like a challenge, the cold and dark." As
Mhm.
like this another like a challenge in life that's just like a fun challenge to face.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
yeah, and that perspective, I was like, nah, that can't work. And then I talked to Wim Hof a couple of years ago, and he was like, "Oh, I love the winter." And then I was like, "Okay, I got to try this." So I just like tried seeing it as like a fun thing to do, and it is kind of fun. I say this, of course, from sunny Miami,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
easy for me to say right now. But I did the past 2 winters I lived in New York, so it really helps, that kind of perspective. It can really help.
Yeah, and I feel honestly, a part of me has been embracing this not literal new season of my life, but also physical. I mean, I am grateful that the winters here in Nashville are not that harsh compared to the East Coast, like New York City. But it's almost February. I heard that the winters end mid-February. I mean, they end in like a few weeks, so I'm excited. But yeah, it's been, I've learned a lot and I feel like a real adult.
Nice, nice. You needed to face the winter to become an adult. I guess I actually I think you're underestimating the winter because it's gonna go through March. Just so you know, I mean Tennessee is a little bit south of New York, but like it's gonna be really cold and dark until like probably early March at least.
Dang, that's so crazy. Someone told me February, but it hasn't been that bad. Yesterday was like blue skies, but
Yeah, it can alternate. The person that told you winter's over in February was that person from LA?
they may have been, Kevin.
Yeah.
I do not know my sources, but maybe so.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Forrest in Colorado right now. I'm pretty sure they have winter through past February, right? Right.
Well, it snowed in September, early September, which is still technically summer. And
Wow.
so it snowed here during that time. So that's kind of abnormal. I grew up where it absolutely never ever snowed, and it was always hot. So kind of like where you are, not as far south as
Yeah,
Miami,
Alabama,
but
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the Gulf Coast. It was as far as like
Oh, nice.
latitude goes, it's the same latitude as New Orleans. So if you could imagine that, that's where I'm at in Alabama, where I was. But it was so hot all year round. In the middle of winter, there would be days where it's incredibly hot. So I'm interested to know like how you're dealing with the heat as much as you talked about
Oh
the
yeah.
winter not being something good for you. Like how are you dealing? I mean, and it's winter there, so it's not even like real heat.
Yeah,
But
it was 74 degrees today. I went swimming. It was all right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, even when it gets hot, I go swimming more. When it gets cooler, I go swimming less. But I'm trying to trying to keep up that consistent exercise. And like just before I came on here, I just jumped in the pool just to get like that blast of cold. Kind of wakes me up because like the rest of the day I was kind of like, you know, all this work. There's like a type of work that really like burns my brain out. That's like technical work. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
where you're like, oh, I have to optimize these ads, and like, oh, I have to like look at the numbers and like
Like very like detailed yeah.
Yes, nitpicky, analytical, detailed. Yeah, that stuff really like makes my brain tired. I think some people are not like that. I think some people thrive on that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
not me. I like people things. I like talking to people. Like this conversation is like a pleasure to me, like rather than feeling like I'm working. I feel like I'm enjoying a conversation. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And it like recharges me.
I think so too. And honestly, can I share a fun fact with you both since today's like casual Fridays? Okay, so a lot of people know this about me, but so I am obsessed with peanut butter. I am a peanut butter connoisseur. Specifically, have either of you tried Justin's?
No.
I think I might have. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because Justin's the brand. It's this organic, high quality peanut butter. The logo, I mean, try the peanut butter with honey, but they also have almond butter. They have hazelnut spread that tastes like Nutella. They have so many amazing brands and like different types. So, okay. The last 2 months. So I moved to Nashville September 1st. I like to repeat myself so I know exactly where I am in my life. But so now it's like, mid-January. So I would say when November hit, kind of when the time of the winter hit, I don't know, I started going through just jars of peanut butter and I didn't know why. And I was like, for some reason, and you know how peanut butter has that like mouth watering when someone thinks about it, says it, you feel like your mouth start to like salivate. So yes, hang with me. So I didn't know why I was obsessed with peanut butter. And then I really researched And actually, scientifically, an ingredient in peanut butter, there are natural amino acids which help your muscles repair. So I'm a runner. I work out like crazy every day. I run like 8 miles a day, like it's psycho with breaks. But also, peanut butter has an ingredient in it that naturally lowers your cortisol levels, which I thought is so interesting because, you know, when people get stressed out, they can stress eat sometimes, but I keep on going for peanut butter. And then I never knew. I'm like, wait, oh yeah, peanut butter has a, like scientifically, it actually lowers your stress level. So eating it is making me feel better. So I thought that was interesting.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Megan. I'll look into that brand. That sounds interesting. Justin's
Well,
peanut
the more
butter.
you know, I like learning certain information and just I think it's cool. I don't know.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I'll see if I remember. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. I feel like we got a lot done this week. I don't know about you guys. I got a lot done this week. There was we have to still, there's like, you guys are both working on interviews that are like, you know, with these celebrities that are kind of like elusive. Forrest, what happened with Graham Hancock?
Graham Hancock got rescheduled to this coming up Tuesday.
Okay, so Tuesday, that's cool. What time?
Yes. Same time.
Okay. Yeah, if you want me on there, I'm glad to join. If not, then just enjoy it. Yeah, and Megan, what about Golden Barbie? Did you follow up with them today?
So I have not followed up with them, but after this conversation, I'm going to, and I think I'm really excited about it. They mentioned that Jasmine, aka the Golden Barbie, the Sports Illustrated cover model, she's had a really busy week, and I'm not 100% sure. Is she in LA right now or Miami?
I think she's in Miami. That's why we need to make this happen now. I'm leaving Miami in like 2 weeks or something like that. So like we need to make this happen ASAP or it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, let's yeah, please, after this conversation, or even if you're not on your phone right now, like if this video is on your computer, just do it now. Just like say, hey, we need to make this happen ASAP or something. Kevin's leaving in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
You got it. I'll really thanks for time.
Yeah, thanks. And for yeah, just try to make sure get like a date set down. Just like say ASAP. Use the word ASAP. Yeah, for me, what do you call it? Oh, I put together a lot of the magazine today or over the past week. And we have the cover for Deepak now. I think it's pretty good. Like I don't know if it's high enough resolution. I have to like play with it a little bit. But there's this one image here. Maybe I'll share my screen. Actually, I shouldn't tease it yet. It's too early. But I kind of like put the universe in the background, and it's like his face is kind of like popping out of the universe, and I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I also talked to Roddy, but Roddy is, I don't know if you know Roddy Devlukia Shetty or Forrest and Megan.
Yes.
Yeah, she's like Jay Shetty's wife. So I've been talking to her publicist, and Roddy's just so like she's like busy in a lot of ways. Like she's doing things, and then she's like also spending a lot of time with family and stuff. So it's kind of hard to get her to commit to a time. But I think right now with Deepak on the cover, and I think that this issue is going to be good. We already have it like packed with really good stuff. Like Megan brought the interview with Jamie Anderson, and that one is a really good interview that like takes up a lot of space in the magazine. And there we have a lot of really good stuff in there. I think it's like at this point it's like we have too much stuff, and I need to like figure out what goes in and what it has to get cut. I just really want to make sure that the magazine's going to sell well, you know, on the like in the retail stores, because this is our first one that's going to be global. You know, like our last one was US and Canada, and this one we're going to add like 20 more countries.
Wow.
Yeah, we got distribution through like this company called Pineapple Distribution in UK, and they're awesome. I really like those guys, and they're going to be putting us in like 20 different countries. So if we sell well, then we can go into more countries, you know, and we can go like larger in those countries. But if we don't sell that well, then it's like they'll shrink our distribution. You know what I mean? So we need to like be careful about who's on the cover. And I think Deepak will do well, but the strange thing is that usually it's like if it's a younger woman on the cover, then it sells better. Like it's just that's like that's just usually what sells better. And Deepak is not a younger woman; he's like an older man. So, but it's a good picture. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do some testing. I'll send it out. Like I'll do some testing online.
Yeah. Kevin, sorry to interrupt you. Just to clarify, so I'm emailing John, Jasmine's agent, right now. Yeah. This is for March. This is for the March issue, correct, or September?
It's kind of like her at some point. Like also like we could put it inside of the March issue and then have her on the cover in another issue or something like that. But just don't talk about what issue it is. Like because we don't really know yet. Like we have to see what comes out of this. Then we can figure out where it's gonna. But just we need to do the actual shoot soon. We have like ASAP. Use the word ASAP. Yeah. So what was I gonna say? Yeah. So this is Freedom Friday. Sometimes we get into work and sometimes we get into random shit. So I don't know. The work stuff is like kind of still on my mind because I want to make sure that we get these interviews done. Like we have to finish the depth by the end of this month. So I basically have to have all the materials in before then. You know. Another thing is if you guys bring in advertisers, like I'll give you commissions on the advertisements that you bring in, or you know, like there's like money to be done there.
Yes.
Yeah. So like people that want to get their brands out in front of meditation people, like just send them in, and we'll work with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. You got my email about leafy green, right?
Yeah. I'll get back to you on that one. So let's see. Yeah, I think that was the main work stuff I wanted to talk to you guys about. Also, there was Spotify. We need to get set up on Spotify. I guess I'll try to get it done next week, but I want to be able to have our podcasts on Spotify also, not just on YouTube. Yeah. I know it seems like people, I don't know, like I wonder sometimes, do people want to hear about like what we're doing behind like this type of thing, like what we're working on? Do they find that interesting, or do they only care about like, I don't know, like fun, entertaining stuff? It's kind of hard for me to know. I guess that's why I kind of throw all the different things in and see what people respond to.
Well, I think people like mental health conversations. I mean, I know there's some personal experience. People like mental health conversations, but they like it to be fun and down to earth and understandable, like educational yet relatable. And I feel like people love when their favorite celebrities and athletes and influencers talk about what kind of foods they eat and how they meditate and what they're doing, not just during COVID, but their self-care routines. Like that will never go out of style. People love that kind of stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. So what we'll definitely have more of these celebrity conversations as we go along. In the meantime, I like these Freedom Fridays just for being able to touch base with you guys and sometimes just talk about random stuff like what we're gonna do on the weekend, you know, and like what we just kind of talked about what we did last week. I kind of like to separate, like maybe we can separate that into like what we're looking forward to and stuff with like a breath work. If you guys want to do a breath work with me,
I would love that.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Just before we do that, did either of you guys have anything that was like important that we needed to talk about that was from like this past week before we like move forward and like let's kind of get into weekend mode?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is not really necessarily from last week, but it's kind of involved with the magazine stuff. Are we still like pursuing the writing an article about the best TV shows for people interested in learning more about meditation, mindfulness, consciousness, mental health?
Yeah.
Are we still pursuing that, or?
Yeah. If it wasn't probably going to crash my computer, I would show you. I had. Oh, actually, wait. I have in a folder here. So I just got a new computer because I broke the screen on my old one, unfortunately. Hang on one second. It was called Cover Ideas. Here, wait. Okay, here. Well, I can share my screen here. Share screen. I just got this. Oh, oops! I denied the share screen. Can you? Oh, I don't even know if you can see my screen now. Hang on. Share. Oh, it's not going to work. Yeah, but I made some designs. I have like a picture of Grogu meditating. You know Grogu?
Okay.
From The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda. So yeah, I'm thinking to do that, just like have that as a big picture, like maybe get somebody to make some art of Baby Yoda meditating. I think that's like a cool thing as like part of that article. I'm excited about that. Yeah, so why do you ask?
Because I remember saying that I believe if we could present Duncan with some sort of like already made article that would make it even more enticing for him to want to come in and do an interview, which would be like really good. And, you know, I mean,
totally.
it's right up this alley. So, but yeah, I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah. Megan, I don't know if you're familiar with Duncan Trussell. Is that his last name, Forrest?
Yeah.
Duncan Trussell. He made this new show called what is it called? The Midnight Gospel.
The Midnight Gospel.
Yeah. No, did you see that one? Here, wait. I wish I could share my screen, but I think I accidentally hit deny on the permission. You should just Google it. Maybe one of you could Google it and share your screen, just so that people can see. Do you know how to share screen? It's at the bottom of the thing.
Let's see here.
Wait, okay. Also, before Forrest continues, since it's Friday and it's like a fun chat, did I tell you, Kevin, my reading with Blake, not on the live stream, but after I had a full session with Blake, and it was mind-blowing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad you had that experience.
It was so cool. And we become friends, and now we're making this cool. Me and Blake are collaborating, and actually, like, he's like my medium now. Like, I get readings from him.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Oh, wait, here, I just realized as I'm playing with the settings here, I think I wasn't using the right microphone. Now I think, is this better? That's a better one.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, that's awesome, Megan. I'm glad that you met Blake through this. So what was I going to say? Oh, can one of you share the screen for the Duncan Trussell show? It's really cool for the Midnight Gospel.
It's looking different than whenever I was leading.
You don't have the share screen option?
Yeah, no.
All right, whatever. So I'll just tell anybody who is interested, it's basically like a very, very tripped out show. It's made by the creators of Adventure Time. Did you ever see Adventure Time, Megan?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that cartoon crazy show that's all trippy.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically the creators of that made a new show that's just about basically like meditation and like philosophy. And it's like these characters that are walking around through this tripped out world that's sort of like an Adventure Time world. And they're having conversations with each other about meditation and philosophy and things like that. And I actually heard one of the episodes had Raghu Marcus on it. So like it's basically, the Raghu Marcus is like a friend of Ram Dass. Like we actually interviewed him previously for Meditation Magazine. Like they have these like really deep thinkers, and it's almost like a podcast, but with like the characters, like when they're having the conversation, someone is just animating it looking like Adventure Time. So it's like they did a podcast together, like something like this, but talking about deep shit. And then they animated it to look like Adventure Time, and like the characters are walking around and doing crazy stuff like as they're having these conversations. It sounds weird, and it is really weird, but it's a really good show. I really recommend it. So yeah, that's one of the ones that we want to include in. I'm thinking to do an article in the next issue called what do you call it? TV shows, best TV shows for meditators, and like that. Yeah, right. It's a good one, right?
I like that.
So, yeah. So I don't know if it's gonna fit in the current issue. It might or it might not.
Mm.
But I think it would be really cool. We have, there's like a lot of really cool stuff. The Midnight Gospel, like Forrest was talking about, is a good one. And maybe we can interview Duncan Trussell, the creator. Like Mandalorian, I think is cool because there's a lot of meditation stuff in there. It's fun. It's just a fun show. I think I would like classify the different shows by like, what people might like, what meditators might like about it. Like one being like trippy and philosophical, one being kind of like fun and lighthearted. Like different things, but like that they all share this like sort of core of like meditation and like philosophy and like depth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah. I also think, just throwing this out there, I feel that a really good article, especially right now with a lot of kids are being homeschooled by their parents, maybe an article for parents on how to help, like not a teenager, but a kid, like how to teach your kid to meditate with like 3 really easy like steps.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I like that idea. Do you know anybody who wants to write that? Because if you have like somebody
I
like,
want to write
okay, great. Have you taught kids? Have you taught kids to meditate?
I actually have spoken at elementary schools, yes.
Mhm.
And it could also be cool to get like an expert in, and I interview the expert, like someone with a PhD or who.
Yes. Yes, that would be good. They don't have to have a PhD, but as long as it's someone who like specializes in teaching meditation to kids.
A licensed family therapist or someone, yeah.
I would say somebody like from Mindful Schools.
Ooh.
Yeah. Look them up. They're a good organization. Actually, after you left on the New Year's podcast, you remember we did that New Year's podcast and you had to leave at a certain point. Then like right after you left, we had like a random guest come on, like Izzy Meditates, her that's her handle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was really cool. She works for Mindful Schools. She's a teacher. Basically, Mindful Schools teaches teachers to teach meditation to kids. So like she's one of the teachers that learned through Mindful Schools. But if you could talk to somebody at Mindful Schools who like teaches teachers and kids, I think that would be a really interesting interview. And like you should do that. Like we could do that interview together. Or you could do it. I would love to be involved in that interview, and then maybe we could put together an article on it, and I think it would be cool.
I love that idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, write it down. That's a good one. Maybe that will go in the next one.
Dr. Nina, who I wrote about in my article in the previous issue, she is actually a pediatric psychiatrist. So as far as being a credentialed person, I mean, it's hard to get much higher up than that.
Too. Yeah, is she does she teach meditation to kids also?
Oh yeah, I mean that's essentially what her profession is. She teaches a lot of people who like how I was introduced to her was they have the Meditation Center of Alabama, and there's a lot of people who might have had some sort of drug abuse issues or alcoholism or abuse of any kind that brings somebody to an environment like that. She specializes in helping people who have been traumatized in a lot of ways and who may be taking a lot of drugs. And so that's how I got introduced to her. And she is essentially...
Were you taking a lot of drugs? Can I just ask? I know it's a personal question.
It was what doctors told me to take. I didn't necessarily
you
want
like
to
Adderall
take them.
and stuff. Adderall and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like I was, going in the streets and doing things, but I was being...
I love those stories though. Like people that came from that type of background. Like I did a lot of drugs in college. I'll talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? I think that it's inspiring when you see that like people that had like emotional issues that they needed to use drugs as a crutch, and then they ended up coming into meditation. And that it kind of replaced the drugs. I think that's a powerful thing for people to realize. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So interestingly enough for me, I, had every reason to think it was okay doing what I was doing. And I had, I was taking 3 Adderall a day, and I was being told I needed to take more.
Oh my God.
Appetite suppressants, antidepressants because of the come downs I was experiencing.
Wow.
Like lots and lots of stuff, and eventually just got to a point where I was like, I just don't want to go down this path, and I
Oh
don't
my God.
care like what my life turns into. I just don't want to have to take these drugs and rely upon them for the rest of my life. That's whenever I met Dr. Nina, and she taught me, meditation and essentially how I can live my life and be happy and proud of the way that I'm spending my time, without needing something to regulate my emotions or my attention, or anything like that. I can just be who I am and live my life, and that was a freedom that I thought I would never get back, because like I'm saying, I thought I had every reason that it was okay to be doing what I'm doing. I'm getting these drugs from a doctor. I'm going to these meetings and they're renewing my prescriptions. So it's like it's okay to be doing what you're doing. But for somebody to kind of reach in from the outside and pull me out and allow me to see things from a new perspective, I mean, I'm indebted to her. That's why it was so meaningful for me to mention her in my article. That was the most important thing that absolutely needed to be there, that her
Wow.
name was there.
So like she basically saved your life through
Yeah.
meditation.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's she made such a big impact in my life that she played the role that I'm playing now in other people's lives in my life. She inspired me to play this role. So it's like, once I experienced that, I was like, this freedom that I'm experiencing now, this is what I want to give to other people. I want to give this opportunity to other people. And maybe I don't have the credentials that a doctor has, but I can reach people in my own way. And I can lead them to people like Dr. Nina who do have the scientific credentials. She was not only a psychiatrist, but she won an award for being the greatest in her class. This was something that her peers voted on, that she was the best psychiatrist of her class.
Well, maybe you should do an interview with her. That sounds like a cool thing. I think you should do it.
Yeah,
you should do an interview with her. She sounds great. But now that you've learned the meditation skills that have helped you like to overcome having to be on like those types of stimulants, like Adderall is not just like, that's not just some little thing. That Adderall is amphetamines.
yes,
It's like being on like meth basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that now that she's given you the tools to overcome that, you could help other people overcome that too. I think that's just as good. Like you're just as good, if not better, because you might be more relatable to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, in my own way, I mean, that's why I've kind of been, speaking at schools in certain parts of the country, and that's why I'm here right now. It's why we're having this conversation, because
Yeah.
I know that that's ultimately part of your role as well, is to share this information with people.
That's right.
So,
I actually saw recently. I was looking at. Well, I was writing the Deepak Chopra article, and I was looking at something on like another interview of him online, where somebody had talked to him about how like certain people resonate with different teachers, and he was saying that like, yeah, everybody's on a certain like generally like a level of consciousness, like not like a hierarchical level, but that everybody has their own type of like level of consciousness, and people resonate with others that like communicate on that same level of consciousness. You know what I mean? So like there's these like monks in the Himalayas that like are like the most like meditative people, like they have the most meditation credentials of anyone in the world, but and like the Dalai Lama or whatever. But like if you try to get the Dalai Lama to like help a kid that's like a young kid that is like, I don't know, like taking a lot of drugs and like just being like hedonistic and just like having a lot of like risky sex or things like that, like the Dalai Lama is not the person to talk to that person. You know what I mean? Like you want like someone who gets them, who like is similar to them, but like has grown out of it through like healthier habits. So you know what I mean? I think that's why us are doing what we're doing, the three of us. Like we realized that like that we are people that have struggled with things in the past and like have come through it, and that there are a lot of people out there that need someone to talk to who's like more of a peer than like a guru, you know what I mean? Someone who's like more relatable, you know what I mean?
I think that's powerful too, Kevin, what you just said, because in my experience, I've also spoken at schools too, Forrest, and I feel for me, I typically speak at universities and colleges, and me being 25, I really think that college students and young adults resonate with like a peer rather than this authority figure where, you know, it feels intimidating, like a therapist's office or something. They really resonate with, this person is on the same level as me. You know, she's a young millennial. She's just, it just creates more safety and comfort. And then that, you know, allows for epiphanies and people to open up, and it makes it just a better experience.
Yeah. Well, I actually wanted to ask you, just as a side note, but we'll return to this point here. What part of California are you from?
So I am originally from the San Francisco Bay Area, but I lived in Los Angeles straight after high school. I went to college there, and then I am now currently living in Nashville.
Did you go to, what school did you go to in LA?
I went to, I did Santa Monica City College.
Okay.
Yep.
I spoke at USC, and I remember, you know, what it was like exactly what you're saying.
Mhm.
You know, the students really kind of related to me because I was their age, maybe slightly older, but I mean, I was, you know, just as much, you know, just as old as they were, practically speaking. But I remember telling them, like, thank you guys so much for allowing me to come here and speak to you guys. And they were like saying, no, thank you for coming here. And I was like, you know, I grew up in a small town in Alabama, and, you know, I dreamed about like going to California, especially LA. And, you know, just, it's like a lot of our cultures come straight out of LA. So, you know, there's a huge part of me that just wanted to know what that was like. And for me to be invited to speak at that school, and then, you know, to go there and to have that connection that I had, it was like, you know, one of the greatest moments of my life. You know, I'll never forget that. And yeah, I agree. I mean, being able to speak with people our age, like us being the age that we all are, I think we have a great ability to connect with people, because it's a lot of the millennial age who are pursuing this type of information right now. We're kind of like in a pocket of an interest, or like a demographic. We're kind of in a little pocket, and I think we're like hitting the nail on the head as far as, you know, how we can represent what we are doing here. So I think we're doing good stuff.
Yeah, me too. I actually, we just got an email yesterday I saw from like a cashier at or a greeter at Natural Grocers, and she was just talking about how she had, like, you know, the whole Trump riots and everything over the past few days. That's some crazy shit that's going on. But that she like has the task of making sure everybody has a mask on going into the store. And then the past few days have been like really hard because it's been like a lot of tension and like a lot of like aggression and stuff. And she like was like super stressed and almost crying. And she, like, one of like the last issue of Meditation Magazine was on the shelf, and she was just like, oh, let me just check this out. And she was like flipping through it, and she said like it brought her to tears, and like to the point where like she was like had checked in there like feeling stressed and like overwhelmed. And then when she read the magazine, she was like so moved by it that she actually was just like, after the shift, she like went outside and just sat outside and like looked at the trees and the mountains, and like had like a powerful experience that she said she hadn't had in like years. And yeah, that's the reason that we are doing this, you know, like we got to keep in mind always, like, this is, we're doing a lot of little work of marketing and monetization and advertising and all these little like things that don't feel individually like very fulfilling, but like we got to keep the big picture in mind of what we're trying to do. And like the impact that we're trying to have in the world. And I think, like, for me, I've never felt more fulfilled by something that I've been doing. I really feel very like happy that I've been able to do this and feel very fulfilled by it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Here, just in my own experience, like something that I've been thinking a little bit about lately, is when I first moved to Nashville, I was still getting used to the city, and I was in an Uber, and the Uber driver, I just think things happen for a reason. And sometimes, we may not know for a day or for a week or a month or a year, but I was in this Uber ride, and the driver like looked at me and then like looked down, and she kept on looking in the rearview mirror, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, wait, are you Megan Gallagher? And I'm like, I was like, wait, what? And she's like, I follow you on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. And when she dropped me off at my destination, she started bawling, and she basically said that at the beginning of COVID, she was thinking about ending her life, and she was in a really low place, like really some gnarly stuff going on in her life. And she said that, just one of my posts, something that, I don't think twice about. To me, it's so automatic. Oh, post every day, post every day. But for her, it literally inspired her to not end her life, which is something that like, I don't know. It's crazy. And it didn't hit me in the moment, but I almost started crying. And then I realized, but you're so right, Kevin, and for Forrest and all three of us and Meditation Magazine as a whole, we really just may not even know the awesome domino effect of how many people it inspires. And especially right now, more than ever, people really need that hope and that light.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. Wow. That's a powerful feeling. My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Meditation Magazine has the same power though, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Anxiety and depression is something scary, and they may not feel comfortable or safe or feel like they have a support system. But I feel like Meditation Magazine really allows people to feel heard and seen, and that someone is holding the space for them, that they get to feel safe and they can let their guard down, that they don't have to, be the friend that's always there for everyone. It's like a Meditation Magazine, at least for me, when I read it, because I do read it, even though I am a writer there, It just makes me feel like I can let my guard down for a little bit.
Thank you. I'm so glad. It's just so good to hear that. Thank you. Thank you for that, Megan.
Yeah.
Wow. So I love having these conversations at the end of the week, because it really makes me feel like, it kind of like recaps things for the week, and like we kind of move into a more relaxed space. I want to sort of keep this a little shorter, because I want to get in and eat some food and watch some TV and play some The Witcher. I just got my brother-in-law the Witcher video game.
I heard really good things about that. Is it cool?
It's amazing. It's amazing. That's another one of the shows I want to put on that list. By the way, The Witcher is deep. It's powerful. It's just. The characters are deep, and it's just beautiful. It doesn't stay away from it like goes into the darkness, Oh, did you ever watch The Witcher? Did you guys watch The Witcher?
No, but I need a new show to watch. I want a show to start and to like get into. I need a show.
Do you like intense, like fun sci-fi fantasy type stuff? Not really, because The Witcher is great. It's fucking awesome. I had to say, if you're not into it, then maybe it's not your show, but it's trippy. It's trippy.
Yeah. I like reality. I like fashion. I like basically keeping up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, I think you'll love The Witcher based on those criteria. He's always changing his outfits. He has like 2 of them. No, just kidding.
Do you, now that you bring this up, I think it's interesting, because I watch things that maybe people, when you hear it, you may not think, oh, that's in line with somebody who's interested in meditation or,
right.
But I've found ways to like relate what I'm seeing with what I'm doing, and it might be like kind of extravagant connections that are being created, but to me they seem incredibly valid. So
like what shows and what kind of connections?
Well, I don't necessarily like watch shows very much. I mean, I love love YouTube. Like pretty much anything on YouTube, I can just dive into that. But there's this one thing where there's this guy who he plays random games, but he'll beat them in like a really interesting way. Like he'll, if you ever heard of Skyrim before?
Yeah.
Okay, so he'll play Skyrim, which is for anyone out there who's listening who doesn't know what Skyrim is. It's like an incredibly popular game with wizards and witches and all dragons and all kinds of stuff. But it's awesome. And anyways, he'll beat this game with like this weapon that you might get at the very beginning of the game. And you get many other weapons that are way more powerful, and you're going to encounter enemies that are way more powerful than who you first meet in the beginning of the game. But he'll take that first weapon that you get, and he'll beat the entire game with it. And it's like, that to me is like someone making the decision, like, this is what I'm going to do, and they're manifesting it. They're creating it in their life. And at the face, you're like, okay, this guy, he's just playing a video game. But when you really think about it, he's setting the intention. This is what I'm going to create. I'm doing this, and this is what I'm going to end up with.
Yeah.
And he starts, and then it ultimately ends up, most of the time, him having what he wants. And I think that's a really interesting way to think about the things that we want to experience in our lives, the experiences that we want to manifest in our lives. That's how I relate to it.
Yeah, man. There's like a I don't know. There's like a deep psychology to that. Like there's something about like deciding you're gonna do something, taking on the challenge, and then doing it.
Yes.
It's like there's a certain power in that, and maybe that speaks to you in a certain way. It's crazy how we all have such different things that we watch. Like for me, it's like, I don't know, like these. I tend to like these like, I don't know, deep, dark shows that are like sort of like The Witcher and like Game of Thrones and like Mad Men and like, I don't know, things like that. And like Megan likes light reality shows with like fashion and stuff like that. And Forrest is like into these like watching video games on YouTube.
I don't even play video games.
By the way, I hear Twitch is good. You might want to check out Twitch, Forrest.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can watch all these live stream gamers. I don't know if I can do that. But
and Megan, I don't know if you've seen the Masked Singer, but I've started watching that and it was really good.
Yes, yeah. I love Rob Gronkowski and I love Kevin Jeong and that's one of my favorite shows. I love Jenny McCarthy. I love them all.
Yeah. I only just started the first season with Giovanna and we kind of like it. So it's fun. It's fun to see, like, that's what's hard to make this list of like TV shows that meditators like, and because everybody's so different. You know what I mean? Maybe you guys could contribute a few like ideas for the list. This way we get like different. That would be great to have different perspectives, like from the three of us, and Giovanna could throw in a couple, and like we could have like different people in the Meditation Mag team, like talking about some of the shows that they've loved recently.
Kind of like get to know who's behind the scenes,
that's a good idea.
That's great. I like that. That gives more personality to it too.
It's like fun facts too. Like, what are the 3 things you can't live without if you were stranded on a deserted island? Or, what's a nickname? Like, what's a hidden talent? I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's do that. Can you write that down, Megan? You write things down and like you remember things. Okay, I'll write it down. Okay, you got it. So now I like, we're kind of drawing to a close here, but I wanna do a quick breath work. If anybody, like, for people who are watching this later and whatever, if they want to do like something that can clear your energy really quickly, and like by clear your energy, I'm not talking about like any woo-woo stuff that's like some mystical whatever. It's more like literally your emotions, like your energy and your nervous system. It will like flush your nervous system with electricity from like hyperoxygenating your blood. And then like it really changes the way that your emotions are. It's a really good way to go into the weekend. Do you guys want to join me on a quick breath work?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, like for like 3 or 4 minutes, we'll do like the rapid breathing. You guys are familiar with this. It's like rapid breathing, then hold the breath out when like, and then hold the breath in, and then that's one cycle. And we'll do like a couple of cycles. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. No, hold the breath out. You may feel tingling in your hands or your face. Just hold the breath out as long as you can. When you can, hold the out breath any longer. Take a huge deep inhale, filling the body with air like a balloon inflating. And then hold your body full of air. You'll feel different sensations in your body, whether it's full of air or empty of air. Maybe tingling, but just be completely here in your body. Completely here and now in your body. And when you can't hold that in-breath any longer, let's go back into that rapid breathing for one more round. As deep as you can. Get to the point where you feel dizzy. Wow, and just hold that out breath as long as you can. You may feel tingling in your hands and your face, your lips, nose. When you can't hold the out breath any longer, take a huge deep inhale, filling your body with air like a balloon, just filling up like a balloon, stretching out your torso and your abdomen, just getting as much oxygen into your blood as possible, and just hold that in breath as long as you can. And just feel your entire body here in this moment. Tingling, present, full of energy. And when you can't hold that in breath any longer, but you just take your time on this, just take your time, hold it as long as you can, and then just glide back into normal breathing. Oh my. I love that feeling. I love that feeling. It's so powerful. I'm still tingling from it.
Yeah, I feel it all in my fingertips. It feels like pins and needles feeling.
Yeah, exactly. The first time I did this, I mentioned this before in Bali with the master Punu Wasu, at a place called the Yoga Barn, which is awesome. You should go there after the pandemic. We'll have a big meditation magazine trip to Bali. We'll go to the Yoga Barn. Yeah, that for real. I think we should do that. Like we're getting more profitable now. Eventually, we'll have money. We can go on a trip to Bali.
Also, okay, sorry to interrupt, but also I really think we should do a meditation magazine field trip, a family field trip. We should go visit Jamie in British Columbia.
Hell yeah, and go snowboarding with her.
Let's go.
I need to race her. Jamie Anderson. Yeah, Olympic gold medalist, snowboarder. I'm going to win.
We all did breath work in the snow on top of a mountain and really intense.
Oh my God. My knees just started tingling just from you saying that.
Like
oh my God.
This breath work, we're all like crying, laughing, just release, and then we can record it on a drone or a GoPro.
Oh my God. Yes. This is like the type of thoughts that come out of breath work are these amazing ideas.
Yeah.
We got to definitely do that for real. Like we got to remember to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I was saying, the first time I did this, I was with Punu Wasu in Bali, and he was running this breath work. We should go there for one of our meditation magazine field trips in the Yoga Barn. And everybody sits in a circle and holds hands.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're doing it, and it's mandala, it means the circle of bliss, and you're all in this circle, and like it's like the bliss, the circle of people becomes like a circle of bliss. It's really powerful and trippy. These people, you're holding hands with one person on your right, one person on your left, and you really start to feel like there's energy flowing back and forth between your hands. And like that wasn't just my observation. Like everyone kind of mentioned that after the meditation. And one thing that I found was really crazy is that when you do this, like, and you're doing like 20 of these cycles, like you're actually doing 7 to go with the chakras, 7 of these cycles of rapid breathing and holding out the breath and holding in the breath, and you're doing it longer cycles. Like those were just really quick cycles. You get to these places where you're very emotional. You're like breaking down, crying, and you're like, it's extremely vulnerable. And I remember when I was like holding hands with the people next to me, I just remember feeling like their like souls, like their vulnerability, like they're like, because like all of us being in this place of like, almost like you don't really think, you're not thinking, there's nothing like in your head. It's more like just like raw emotion, and it becomes this really beautiful thing. I really want to do that. We can all go there. And hopefully in about a year we'll be able to afford that kind of trip. So I mean, that'll be after COVID anyway. So I'd like to do that. I want to have that in our list of to-dos.
But yeah, I'm actually in 2 weeks. I'm going. So the X Games are happening in Aspen, and I'm going with some friends. So you can't, because of COVID, you cannot watch the actual sports event happening. But we're renting an Airbnb, and we want to like go snowboarding ourselves and just experience like getting outside in the mountains. So I'm really excited.
Nice. Wait, that's the X Games in where? In Austin?
They're in Aspen. The X Games.
Oh, nice.
Buttermilk Resort. Nice.
When are you going there? In 2 weeks, you said?
I'm going, 2 weeks from today.
Wow, that's awesome. I don't know if you want to, like, if we can make if we can make the Jasmine Sanders interview happen, or the beach meditation happen before that. If you want to stop off in Miami in the meantime, we can all do that on the beach, and your conversation could be in person then. Let's make this happen, Megan. Let's, for real, like, did you text them already, or did you message him already?
I did. I emailed John, and I really, like, politely, I just very emphasized. I was
use the word ASAP?
Yes. I was like, hey, John, hope you guys are well. So in order for Jasmine to be a part of our magazine, we really need to get clear on dates and times and just communicate, because we, are in a extremely tight time crunch. So please get back to me ASAP in all capitals.
Well done. Thank you, Megan.
Of
That's
course.
why you get results. Good job. Yeah, I think to get results, sometimes you have to push people a little bit.
Yes.
You know
And
what I
I
mean?
think it's also important for us as a magazine, to realize that after we get certain interviews like Deepak and hopefully with Jasmine and with Jamie, and just with my network and all of our contacts, I don't think we need to worry about, oh gosh, what, because there's so many other amazing people that we could easily interview. And right now, everyone is, either at home or limited with travel and work. So a lot of people have free time. So, we could easily be interviewing Elon Musk or Kanye West or Kid Cudi, and maybe not Kanye because he's in the middle of a divorce.
Okay, well, Elon Musk is in the middle of becoming the richest man in the world, so I think he's got a lot on his plate right now. I would love to do an interview with Elon Musk. That would be a dream for me. He's like my favorite character on the world stage right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see what he
Not
just did? Yeah, did you see what he just did? Like, he just became the richest man in the world, and he basically like tweeted that like half of my money is like I'm selling all my possessions. First of all, I'm selling all my possessions. Half of my money is dedicated to making sure that humans establish a colony on Mars. The other half of my money is dedicated to solving problems here on Earth. And like that, it to me is like, wow, that's like the pinnacle of human like life right there. Is like somebody that's just like, I'm just gonna save like humanity, and I have the power to do whatever I want. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I love whenever he was going on Joe Rogan's show and he was talking so much about the dangers of AI and like how it needs to be stopped and lots of references. And then he goes on, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to lead this whole thing. I'm going to be the industry leader of AI. Like any AI that's going to be created is going to come from what I do with Neuralink. And I'm just like, man, that's such a interesting reversal, I mean, like how many people can really do that?
That right there is the inception of the supervillain right there. That's the supervillain coming out right there.
That's the interesting thing. We're just gonna have to look out for lots of without going into too much of a without going into too much of like a deeper conversation, I just think it's so interesting that we're born in the time that we are, because, with like Ray Kurzweil's projections of when AI is supposed to essentially, through intelligence, overcome human beings, that is supposed to happen in our lifetimes, like around 2045, so to speak. And, if that's the case, then that means we're going to be around for a period of time where, they talk about putting your consciousness into some kind of a computer, or virtual reality becoming, like video games becoming so lifelike that you can't even tell necessarily that you're in a video game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it's kind of like, as Elon typically says, like, how do we know that that's not already happening now?
Yeah,
we're living in the time where that technology in the world that we're living in is going to be created.
Yeah.
So it's this
that's craziness. Yeah.
So,
did you ever see the movie? I mean, obviously you saw The Matrix. That's like that's everyone's seen that, but you've seen The Matrix, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Have you seen Existence?
No. What's that?
Yeah. That came out at the same time as The Matrix, and I think is way better. Like it's deeper on this topic of what you're talking about. Like, how do you know we're not already in the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Matrix is based on like people that are like in like they don't like it was like robots took over and put them into a like basically like sleep or whatever. But
see, we should be talking about this for so much longer, but I know like
it's cool.
Gotta go.
It's fine. I like these conversations. It's good. We should always do the breath work at the beginning of the meditation, by the way, because that changes the whole conversation at the beginning of the live streams. But wait, so Existence is more about like a video game that somebody invented a video game that's sort of like an AI video game that like it goes on your head, and there's all these layers. It's kind of like Inception plus The Matrix, but better than both.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write that down then.
Yeah, it's very hard to find because
what is it called?
It's called Existence, like existence, but with a Z at the end.
Okay.
Existenz.
Oh, that's an
It's with
interesting name.
Jude Law. It's with Jude Law and what's her name? Jennifer Jason Leigh. Yeah, but it came out at the same time as Matrix, so
Okay.
it didn't get a lot of like people seeing it. So it's hard to find. But if you could find it, Existenz, it's an amazing movie about this, about like what, like how do we know that, you know, what reality is?
That's why I just think like for us we're like the leading people to even have this conversation, I think. I mean, other than the scientists who are creating this stuff, as far as like living your life in a world where that stuff exists, I mean, we're like some of the greatest people to talk about that because, you know, we're constantly examining our own lives. And, you know, we're, you know, in a lot of ways putting that out there.
Oh,
And
wow. So like, yeah, you're saying meditation people talking about AI and virtual reality.
Yes.
When
I
virtual
think
reality starts to become like what is reality,
yes.
and then it's the meditation people that are going to have the insights about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many. I actually wrote down several different topics that, you know, I mean, meditation is like a meta skill. So it's kind of like if you understand meditation, then you understand a lot of things better.
Yeah,
And so there's a lot of different directions that we can go. And, you know, personally, I think, you know, there's an incredible conversation to be had for a long time about these things.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, you know, I was thinking about the idea of using meditative understanding to actually create artificial intelligence. Like, you know, like I think that artificial intelligence doesn't have consciousness yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's able to like do things, but I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it's able to experience things and like feel things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like,
Mm-hmm.
I think meditators are in a unique position to like be very aware of
Yes.
how feelings work and how
Yeah.
consciousness works,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to code that into the AI and actually
Yes.
create like actual conscious feeling computers.
Yes.
That's going to be really intense. Oh,
Well,
that's another movie recommendation right there called Her. Did you ever see
Oh
Her?
yeah.
Wait, did you like that one too, Megan? Did you see that one?
I love that. It was so just beyond our time. It was fascinating.
Yeah. So wait. Megan, Forrest, and Kevin all liked the movie Her. Okay. So we have one that's in common. We should put that one in the magazine for sure. That's a really deep one. That had Alan Watts in it and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, they had a quote. They had like Alan Watts's voice talking in there. Even one of the AIs was Alan Watts. Like it was Alan Watts's consciousness. Yeah.
That's interesting because like when people get asked like would you, if the brain chip comes out, would you get the brain chip if you could access all the world's knowledge at the snap of a finger? You don't even have to reach in your pocket. It's just instantly there. Would you do it? And for me, it's like I'm not saying completely no. A lot of people are saying like no way, I would never do that.
I would totally do it.
But for me, yeah, I feel like I'm the type of person who would pay attention to the subtle changes that take place between me being this person who I am now and then noticing how things change and just noticing that change, I think.
Especially if you know, we were talking about Neuralink, like Megan, I don't know if you know Neuralink, that's Elon Musk's other company. So he has like he has a company to put people in space, he has a company to change the cars to electric cars. He has a company to tunnel under at Los Angeles, and you know, I don't know if you know all three of those, but they're pretty cool. And then he has a fourth one, which is called Neuralink, which is basically to allow computers to directly interface with the human brain. Mm-hmm. So like Forrest, you're talking about a brain chip. I'm thinking more like a brain, like a helmet or like something that goes on your head, so you don't have to.
Well, it looks exactly like the little ring in the back of people's necks on the Matrix. That's exactly what it looks like.
Something like that, right? So that it would like that you'd be able to tap into that. So like if you could take that on and off, rather than just like get it implanted forever and like whatever. If you could take it on and off, you could see the difference in what life feels like.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been a fascinating conversation. We started with like almost like a meeting about what we need to do for Meditation Magazine, and then evolved into a bunch of random shit, and then eventually breath work and AI. Somehow we ended up on AI and like Elon Musk. So this has been a really cool, interesting conversation. I'm really glad that we were able to meet. I think it's nice to be able to meet with you guys like at least like once a week or twice a week, just to kind of catch up and touch base. We'll do this if you want to join me on Monday. So I'm doing I do the Sunday Samadhi, which is basically just a guided meditation on Sundays. If either of you want to do a takeover and do a guided meditation on Sundays, feel free. Just let me know. Also, Monday, the Monday morning monkey mind is kind of like just planning for what we're going to do for the week. This week I did it with Megan. I was at the pool, right? That was kind of fun. I think we should do stuff at the pool and more later. I guess it doesn't matter to you guys, but I got to remember that I can do that from the pool. Sorry about the airplane that's going over my head. It's done. So the and then I guess next Friday at the same time we could just have another one of these types of things and just talk. And we can always invite celebrities and other like interesting people to these conversations. If you have friends that are deep and want to have like, it's not that they have to be deep people, just good conversationalists and talking about this type of and interested in this type of stuff. You know what I mean? And like deep is good also. Like we want like interesting, deep conversations. Feel free to like recommend a person and like you could text me like and we could talk about it and I think that we should just keep doing it like that, and we should just always remember to do the breath work at the beginning because I think it really changes the tone of the whole conversation. It makes it more fun and more deep.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any parting thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we do the breath work. That's not something that I am like particularly experienced with. I have like a breath work technique, but it's not like as extensive as that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like more along the lines of like take as deep of a breath as you can for 4 seconds, hold it for 8 seconds, and then slowly exhale for 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And it gives you that tingly feeling in your head and in your body that kind of just like brings you back to a present state of mind. So I have something that works similarly to what we've done, but I watched a really cool interview with Wim Hof and Jordan Peterson. And that's a combination of people who I never thought would like come together.
Who is Jordan Peterson again? I forget who that is.
He was like a professor in Canada, and it's like a long story. He essentially got caught up in like some controversies, but he became essentially like a leader of like a free speech movement. But he is an incredibly intelligent psychologist, and he's millions and millions of followers and subscribers. His book 12 Rules for Life I think it was like a New York Times bestseller, something like that.
So you were watching this conversation with him and
yes, it was a very analytical scientist speaking with Wim Hof. And because Wim Hof, you can understand what he's saying, but sometimes he makes claims that you would want to have validated right there, and or maybe you would want to have somebody who can kind of contain the conversation so that it's like more focused in a certain direction. And so it was Jordan Peterson, his daughter, Michaela, and Wim Hof. And that was a very interesting interview. So I recommend, you check that out. Anybody who's watching this, because I wasn't skeptical of Wim Hof. I knew the stuff worked. It's obvious. I mean, it's simple. It's a meditation practice. But to have somebody like Jordan Peterson really just kind of like ask certain questions that maybe other people weren't asking, I thought that filled in a lot of gaps for me that made me feel like, okay, this is something that I could like more confidently get into, having already had a practice that I'm, pursuing.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I do like that, to have the breath works at the beginning of these conversations. Also, I mean, we could do different types of meditations at the beginning. Like if you guys feel like it, we can do other types. I just think that to me, the one that I found that is the most energizing is that one. It's like very, very energizing. And it's like a quick hit of like, I don't know. It's like weed plus like coffee. It's like, just it makes me like awake and like, I don't know, just excited and enthusiastic. So it's like a really interesting for like having conversations to be able to be like on that sort of high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like how Joe Rogan uses like during the interviews, like you start out sober and then he's like introducing whiskey in and introducing weed in and like makes it go into like this sort of different mode of consciousness. Like it's kind of like that,
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so we got to wrap this up. It's nice talking to you guys. Megan, you have any parting thoughts?
I would say I'm really excited for this weekend, and I'm excited. This month I'm pumped up, and it's only been a week into 2021, but I have a lot of really cool stuff going on. I actually am in March going to have my 4th book out and published.
Nice.
It's a mental health workbook for teenagers and young adults in their virtual school right now. And it's really a workbook for them if they're feeling anxious, depressed, or lonely or isolated. It's specifically for this time. And I'm really excited to like go on a mini virtual book tour, and I'm excited to get it out there.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you both for joining the Freedom Friday Funcast. Let's call it that. Freedom Friday Funcast. I don't know. We'll just change the name every week and it will just be whatever. I kind of like that. It's just like, that's the feel of the thing, is we're just talking about random shit. Anyway, if you guys have anything else that we got to talk about, just text me, or you know how to reach me.
Yes.
Yeah. And for anybody who's watching this, thank you for watching. And we love you.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe to Vaccine if you haven't already. Thank you.